guys. Well, it's going to remind people of the nice uppercut by Ruddock. Oh, there goes Morrison! Got whacked with an uppercut. Will Morrison box? Is there room to box? There's a hook by Ruddock, and it may have hurt Morrison. Big left hook! Down goes Razor!
A standing 8 here. That's a lot of time for Ruddock to kill here. And Ron Lipton told us before 10 more seconds, and it's a long one. He will not do it.
Oh my, it's over. The end of the round. Ron Lipton says
Tommy the Duke Morrison, born January 2nd, 1969, and left this world September 1st, 2013. A professional boxer who competed from 1988 to 2008 and held the WBO heavyweight title in 1993. He retired from boxing in 1996 when he tested positive for HIV. Morrison is also known for his acting career, having starred alongside Sylvester Stallone in the 1990 film Rocky V as Tommy Guns. Morrison had previously attempted a comeback to boxing in 2007 when the Nevada Commission lifted the indefinite worldwide suspension in July of 2006. His comeback was short-lived and never materialized anything significant beyond 2 fights. Morrison retired again in 2008. In August of 2013, Morrison's mother announced that her son was in the final stages of AIDS, and he died on September 1st, 2013 at the age of 44 from sepsis, septic shock, multi-system organ failure, and cardiac arrest. Morrison was born in Gravette, Arkansas. His mother, Diana, was Native American, whereas his father, Tim, was of Scots-Irish ancestry. Morris was raised in Delaware County, Oklahoma, spending most of his teenage years in Jay. His nickname, the Duke, is based on the claim that he was the great-nephew of the Hollywood star John Wayne. Tommy's father urged him to take up boxing at the age of 10. When Tommy was 13 years old, his mother used a fake ID and entered her son into 15 tough man contests. The minimum age of contestants was 21. He later told the New York Times that he lost only one of these matches. After graduating from high school in 1988, Morrison received a football scholarship to Emporia State University. In the same year, Morrison won the regional heavyweight title, Kansas City Golden Glove from Donald Ellis, and advanced to the National Golden Glove in Omaha, Nebraska, where he won by decision, beating Javier Alvarez in the preliminaries. He also won by decision, beating Warren Williams in the quarterfinals, but lost a split decision to Derek Eisman in the semifinals. 2 weeks later, Morrison took part in the Western Olympic trial in Houston, Texas, defeating Robert Hargrove by a 4-1 majority decision in the semifinals, and John Bray by a 5-0 unanimous decision in the finals, and qualifying for the Nationals and garnering the Outstanding Fighter Award of the tournament. 2 weeks after that fight, fighting out of the Republic, Missouri, at the National Olympic Trials in Concord, California on July 6, 1988, Morrison lost a 0-5 unanimous decision to Ray Mercer, who went on to win the gold medal at the Seoul Olympics.
Right hand over the top by Morrison.
I think he should be throwing more punches at this point.
Tommy Morrison beating Foreman to the punch in these early exchanges. George Foreman not yet started with the jab. Right hand to the body by Morrison. Right to the body by Morrison. Morrison continuing to beat Foreman to the They trade. Morrison lands in his fight.
That was what everybody was wondering. He's done it. He has to get credit for it.
A lot of people thought Alex Stewart would get the decision over Foreman here a little more than a year ago. It appears that Tommy Morrison has done his job.
And Mr. German both scored the bell.
As an amateur, Morrison had 222 fights, most of which were local matchups, with the 1988 Olympic trial being the top of his amateur career. His amateur record is 202 wins and 20 losses. Now let's take a look at the professional career of Tommy "The Gun" Morrison. Tommy started his professional boxing career on November 10, 1988, with a first-round knockout of William Muhammad in New York City. 3 weeks later, he scored another first-round knockout. In 1989, Morrison had 19 wins and no losses, 15 by knockout. In 1989, actor Sylvester Stallone observed one of Morrison's bouts. Stallone arranged a script reading and cast Morris in the movie Rocky V as Tommy the Machine Gun, a young and talented protege of the retired Rocky Balboa. Morrison took a 6-month break from boxing to work on the movie in 1990. In 1991, Morrison won fights against opponents James Tillis and former world champion Pick Lon Thomas. He was given an opportunity to face fellow undefeated fighter Ray Mercer, the WBO title holder, in a pay-per-view card held on October 18, 1991. Morrison suffered his first loss of his career, losing by 5th-round knockouts. He had 6 fights in 1992, including fights with Art Tucker and Joe Hip, who later became the first Native American to challenge for a world heavyweight title. In the Hip fight held on June 19, 1992, Morrison was suffering from what was later discovered to be a broken hand and broken jaw, but railed to score a knockout in the 9th round. After the 2 wins in 1993, including one over 2-time world heavyweight challenger Carl the Truth Williams, Morrison found himself fighting for the WBO title once again, against heavyweight boxing legend George Foreman. In this fight, Tommy chose to avoid brawling with Foreman, which was a smart decision, and spent the fight boxing from long range. He was able to hit and move more effectively in this manner, which resulted in him winning a unanimous 12th-round decision and the WBO title. Tommy's first title defense was scheduled against Mike Williams, but when Williams withdrew on the night of the fight, Tim Tomaszek stood in as a replacement. Although Tomaszek had been prepared to fight as a backup plan, some news reporters created the impression that he had just been pulled out of the crowd. The WBO later rescinded their sanctioning of this fight due to Tomaszek's lack of experience. Almost immediately, talks of a fight with the WBC champion Lennox Lewis began, but they were halted when a virtually unknown Michael Bent upset Morris in his next bout. Bent knocked Morris down 3 times, and the fight was stopped in the first round in front of a live HBO boxing audience. Morrison recovered by winning 3 bouts in a row in 1994, but his last fight of the year against Ross Perretti ended with a draw.
Lewis's arms, the right hand got through again.
Here, for him to have an advantage, he should throw more body shots. Tommy was breathing, long stride, and that's a good body shot.
Good body shot in the 90s that Tommy Morrison's been down.
He's punching between Morrison's punches, which is what I told you. You're going to make him fight him much harder than he is doing right now.
There's a right hand frequently with those right hands as he steps inside. Body shot landed. Lewis Lane gets him at the distance again, and Lewis landed a right hand. Lewis landing more punches. Morrison maybe landing the harder shots.
Take over now. Expression on his face.
You get that sense. Down goes Morrison again, and I wonder if Mills has seen it. And that'll do it.
A terrific performance by Leonard.
Morrison won 3 fights in 1995 before meeting former #1 contender Razor Ruddock. Ruddock dropped Morrison to his knees in the first round, but Morrison recovered to force a standing count in round 2 and competed on even terms for 5 rounds. In the 6th round, Ruddock hurt Morrison with a quick combination, but just as it seemed that Morrison was in trouble, he countered with a tremendous hook that put Ruddock on the canvas. Ruddock regained his footing, but Morrison drove him to the ropes and showered him with an extended flurry of blows. Just as the bell was about to sound, the referee stepped in and declared Morrison the winner by TKO. His victory also granted him the minor IBC heavyweight belt and title. The much-anticipated fight with Lewis, who had also lost his world championship, finally took place. Following the Ruddock match, Morrison was knocked out in the 6th round. At one point in 1996, Morrison was married to 2 women at the same time, a Dawn Freeman and Dawn Gilbert. I find it weird that they both name was Dawn, but moving on. Morrison had 2 children by the age of 19. Tommy and Tricia Morrison were engaged in 2009 and married in 2011. Tommy is the father of professional boxer Kenzie Morrison. In 1996, Morrison was scheduled to fight Arthur Weathers. The Nevada Athletic Commission determined that Morrison had tested positive for HIV. The commission suspended Morrison from boxing in Nevada. Several days later, Morrison's physician administered a test, which also tested positive. At a news conference on February 15, 1996, Morrison said that he had contracted HIV because of a promiscuous, fast, and reckless lifestyle. Morrison stated that he would absolutely never fight again. In 2006, Morrison said his HIV test had been a false positive. The Nevada Commission Medical Advisory Board reviewed Morrison's 1996 test results and concluded that they were ironclad and unequivocal. Morrison said he tried to get a copy of the original test results, but it was unable to do so, adding, quote, "I don't think it ever existed," end quote. The commission said Morrison could contact the laboratory and they would immediately release his results to him. Tommy tested negative for HIV 4 times in January of 2007. That year, he began fighting again. After passing medical tests in Texas, West Virginia licensed Morris to fight in the state. In February 2007, he fought and beat John Castle. In June, Morrison's former agent, Randy Lang, alleged that Morris had tested positive in January and that the boxer had tampered with blood samples. Morrison responded that he had fired Lang when he discovered that Lang was not a lawyer. But after all the dust settled, in August of 2013, Elizabeth Merrill of ESPN.com reported that Morrison's mother, Diana, said that Tommy had full-blown AIDS and was in the final days of his life. She also stated that Morrison had been betrayed for over a year. The same article also stated that Morrison's wife, Tricia, did not believe Morrison had AIDS. On September 1st, 2013, Morrison died at the Nebraska Medical Center in Omaha, Nebraska, at the age of 44. Rest in peace, Big Dog.
Performing and, ripping the spirit out of a man. I mean, you can suck the life out of somebody just by looking at him, well, Tyson did that for years. People were beat before they ever even started. There's a lot of fighters in this world that got world-class talent, but they got ticker problem. They don't have any heart. They don't have that killer instinct,
Thanks for watching. I've been Sean Mack. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hit up that comment section as well. And tell me, what do you think about Tommy Morrison's career? I think it was pretty good, a little underrated in my opinion. But once again, thanks for watching. Death After Sports. Tommy Morrison.